Before I get into my settings, it's really about feeling comfortable with how you play. If you ask a pro player, you watch a pro player like a settings video, most of them are going to be playing on somewhere between 5 and 7 sensitivity. So let's go through my settings here. I play on controller, actually. Let me show my controller on the camera real quick. So I play on an Xbox Elite controller with 2 paddles on the back. Definitely not necessary, but adding paddles opens up your movement options by a lot. It's honestly taken me to the next level, and I really enjoy having these paddles. If you're on a budget, you can buy a strike pack, and that just adds paddles to pretty much any type of controller. So Senor with the first question, do I watch a lot of pros play? Honestly, I do when the CDL season starts. I'm not really watching scrims like on Twitch or anything. If you know me, I'm a bit of a pubs grinder. I've been on that dark matter grind, every day since the game came out. So I've been kind of glued to this game. But anyway, yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of pros play in the off season, but during the CDL season, I watch them a lot. And my favorite pro players to watch on YouTube are probably Attach and Octane, because they put out some great content, and I'm actually stealing a couple of these tips from Attach's videos for sure. So anyways, let's take a gulp of water here. But thanks, Senor, for the question. I really encourage you, if you're sticking around, to ask more questions. I really want this to be about the viewers. All right. So let's go to the controller settings here. You're going to scratch your head when you see this. So I play on 6.6, which is pretty normal. But for some reason, I really like having ADS slowdown when I zoom in. And the 0.83 multiplier makes my 6 sensitivity into a 5 sensitivity when I'm aiming down sight. And if you've watched me play Search and Destroy, I'm usually the sniper for my team. Having your ADS high zoom sensitivity on 1.1 allows you to cover like people jumping out, it's people with crazy movement flying around corners and stuff. So 1.1 or 1.0 for high zoom, if you're hard scoping, you can fine tune your aim a little bit. So I don't feel like I need that 0.83 on my hard, on my high zoom. Button layout is tactical, and I have my left paddle mapped to crouch and slide, and my right paddle mapped to jump. So that's for just sliding around corners and then coming up and doing a slide cancel. I just really like the freedom of movement you get with having slide and jump on your paddles, because you get to retain control of your sticks. And that's huge when sliding or jumping around a corner. You get to keep your aim. And if you weren't playing with paddles, you would probably have to play claw to get that freedom of movement. Or I think there's something called stick and move, which I'm not too familiar with. So anyway, those are my settings. Let me keep going through those. I feel like I stopped halfway through. So a lot of pros play on flipped. I know this is the move with the PlayStation controller for some reason, because the triggers feel a little different. I've always been an Xbox controller user, so I'm fine with just default. And my controller also has paddle stops. So I can, if I'm using like a semi-auto weapon, I can pull the paddle stops in, and then my trigger will stop. So it makes it easier to use semi-autos, but don't feel like you need that type of stuff. Playing on default without it flipped is just fine. Invert, obviously no. I play on standard, but this is all preference. You can experiment with dynamic. Stay away from linear, but dynamic pretty much makes the aim response curve a little bit different. So I think it's a little faster in the beginning, and then it may slow down. Where with standard, which is what I play on, it gets faster, the longer you hold it. Controller vibration. This is the most important setting. I used to play on vibration all the time, and when I tried to make the switch to turning it off, it just felt weird not getting that response. Just because like when you get hit, it feels good, like to have that feedback from your controller. But that doesn't really help you at all in any situations, and it's gonna hurt you more often than it helps you, because if you're shooting in a gunfight, especially in Black Ops Cold War with the high TTK, if you're trading shots with someone, it might throw you off a little bit. So I 100% recommend turning vibration off. Just it takes a couple games to get used to if you play with it on, but this might be the only setting that, like, honestly helped me improve my shot by a lot. It helps you stay on target. You can get used to it. When you get hit, it feels good. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, turn vibration off if you have it on still. Let me go through the rest of these settings. So I know this Airborne Mantle one I have on manual. I think the default is automatic. That's just so, like, how many times have you been in a gunfight where you are, like, strafing and then you jump next to something like this and it mantles you and then you pull your gun down and lose the gunfight? So I would 100% recommend turning your Airborne Mantle behavior to manual. ADS, steady aim behavior, both hold. Armor, that's not really used in comp. Oh yeah, and then dead zone. So, what the heck happened to the stream?
That is interesting.
This is an ad blocker or script running your browser, making it look like you're watching from another site.
I'm guessing that's on Senor's end.
I'm not sure. I'll take a quick break then. Do I need to turn off ad block? Okay.
There you go. You're back.
All right, cool. Thank you. Okay. So it used to be called dead zone, but in this game it's called minimum input threshold. So the default's actually 20 if you haven't changed this yet. Highly recommend it. So on left stick, that's just your movement. I have that set on 1 for minimal input lag. Having a high dead zone is pretty much giving yourself input lag because its purpose is to stop stick drift. So I would recommend turning your right stick minimum input threshold is down as low as you can. Like, just go down to 0, honestly. And I guess I don't have a whole lot of stick drift. No, I do, actually. So yeah, see how I'm slowly turning to the right? To find a perfect dead zone setting for you. Where did it go? You usually just play with it, and then when you're standing still and it stops moving, you found a good threshold. So I would recommend somewhere between 5 and 7. So I know this is G8 amongst the pros, but I actually play on auto sprint, and I'm actually not sure how much this helps, because if you've watched me play, you'll see me, like, get into a dead sprint, where it's like locking me out of sprinting even though I have auto sprint on, and it happened to me a couple times in the tournament. And I was super frustrated with it, but I just played on auto sprint. Hey, I got a follower, thank you. I played on auto sprint because this is actually my second Elite controller, and Microsoft sent me a new one because I was playing MW, and with the double sprint in that game, it just fried my left stick. So I finally switched to automatic tactical sprint in MW, and I got hooked on it. So I'm playing an auto sprint in Black Ops Cold War. Sprint cancels reload. I know a lot of people turn this on, but I kind of like how in Cold War you can reload while you're sprinting. And I feel like it helps me more than it hurts me, because when you reload your gun and you add time cancel it, you can still YY and get your gun up right away. Did you already refresh? Do you need me to pause still? I'm good? Alright, cool. Tap to reload. Yeah, so that's the end of it. That's pretty much all my controller settings. Alright?
Another quick one on the max input threshold. My controller, I'd stop moving forward. So I actually had to lower that max input. Sometimes controllers don't reach that 100%, so it wasn't registering as fully forward for me.
Okay.
So if you're constantly, it stops moving forward, like stop sprinting, you can actually lower that. Fixes that. I only had to lower it 1 or 2 points, but it's just something people can watch out for.
That's actually a really good tip. I might that might solve my dead sprinting issues, because I'm slamming up on my left stick a lot, and that might be causing me to be thrown off. Like Mello said, yeah, some controllers are not created equal, and they can't reach that max 99 or 100. So yeah, if you're experiencing that problem, then turn the max input threshold down. All right, so that's settings.